What would you like to know?
First, if we get your first and last name and title as far as what your role here is today.
My name is Janine McRearty. I hail from Danville, and I am an administrative representative, and I'm the person who actually drafted and wrote the petition. And the other co-petitioners are basically a local activist group for anti-illegal immigration issues.
Bulk of the argument here. Why did you file this?
Well, the writ of mandate basically says that government has a duty. And a lot of people don't realize that in Kentucky, you don't have initiative, referendum, and recall. So there is no direct democracy procedures for the people of Kentucky like California, which has all three. So basically, the citizenry, your hands are tied. Well, we got tired of having our hands tied, and we decided it's time to do something affirmative, which means what? You go to court. Without direct democracy procedures in the political realm, we're forced to go to court. We don't have any other speedy, effective remedy to get the city, county government to comply with federal immigration law. So I'll hand it over now to David if you want to ask him some questions.
First and last name again, please.
I'm Dr. David Duncan.
And why are you here?
Well, I'm here after... Oh man, I'm gonna look good. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I look good.
Yeah.
I'm here after working for more than a year to convince that the interests of the public are better served, the fiscal responsibility are better served, and public safety is better served by the city adhering to federal immigration law, and specifically with respect to the financial responsibility to the city, to the community's citizens for federal funding.
Day in, day out, what do you think you see happening in the city?
Well, it gets broken down from housing issues, welfare issues, public health issues, law enforcement issues, that Mayor Newberry made promises to the community prior to his election that he would address in terms of the illegal immigration costs to the city. He formed a Mayor's Commission on Immigration, which apparently didn't satisfy his desire to establish a sanctuary city policy for Lexington, shelved that, and essentially has turned his back on the tax-paying citizens of Lexington, and in addition has slapped in the face those who are here as legal immigrants, despite the fact that we are having ongoing problems with gangs, crime, drugs, prostitution, human trafficking, communities such as Cardinal Valley where people are literally afraid to leave their homes any longer because of the threats that they face from illegal immigration.
Do you feel your taxpayer money is supporting that, enabling it to continue?
Absolutely. We've established that approximately $15 million of federal funding goes into the county health department, and an additional $23 to $24 million of federal block grants and dedicated funds go to the city, of which there's no accountability. And what we would like to be able to do is establish that 100% compliance with the federal law concerning the identification of and positive affirmation of the benefits received by those beneficiaries.
What kind of sweeping actions do you foresee this happening? Do you think this is going to spread to other states? Will it spread statewide if this is upheld?
Well, I received an award about 3 months ago for the work that I've been doing here that was predicated on the Paul Revere issue of spreading the word that we're going to fight for the country. It was a personal honor of mine, but I think that it's past the time of calls to the mayor, of letters to the editor, of people wringing their hands and saying, what are we going to do? And hopefully this exemplifies the fact that all it takes is one citizen, 2 or 3 citizens to enjoin the judiciary branch of the federal government and act on our behalf for the safety and the benefit and financial welfare of our taxpayers.
It says you're basically calling on ICE to pick up these guys and deport them if they're here illegally too.
ICE is one aspect of the writ in terms of the expenditures of federal funds into the police department. Now there is in ICE 288 no compelling requirement for a community to establish a writ of agreement with ICE. However, in our situation, the usual and customary approach of the police department here, as endorsed by Chief Baston, is if you don't ask, you won't tell. They're not pursuing the gang issues in accordance to their responsibility. We're getting a lot of double talk out of the administration, and I think this is the time where we can jack them up by the collar and say we're not going to allow this any longer.
I think the community as a whole is ready for this. We just had the housing trial in this very courthouse a couple weeks ago.
That's right, the Haddon case.
He walked out of here a free man, even though he was housing illegal immigrants.
Well, I felt particularly badly for Mr. Haddon that he had to be the first case of its kind in the country, but I think very strongly that that is a warning shot across the bow to the apartment and other housing owners and managers across the country. As you well know, the federal government may slip and fall, but then they learn from their mistakes. And if the argument is, I didn't know, I suspect that the federal government is going to ensure that they will know in the future. And that, you know, it's unfortunate that we're at this point, but a lot of this is driven by the greed of employers, the greed of housing and other managers. And then there's a great slave trade or slave marketing that's going on, specifically with respect to Shelby County, for instance. And why illegal immigrants and their promoters want to allow their people to suffer the consequences of a slave labor or human trafficking situation, when 3 blocks away from here we know that in the 2 centuries ago in the 1800s, Lexington was the largest slave trade market in the South. We don't need this as a blight against our history.
Where would you like to see Kentucky a year from now when it comes to immigration reform and these issues?
I think that the governor and the General Assembly missed a tremendous opportunity with House Bill 304. I believe that when Representative Kathy Stein killed House Bill 304, that she did so with personal and or other personal agenda and interests at mind. I think that the governor and the General Assembly needs to understand we are the 47th poorest state in the country, that we have approximately 11.5 million people here. And for example, in Lexington, the illegal population of Hispanics since the organization of Hispanos Unidos, when Josh Santana stipulated that the tenants of La Raza were going to be used here to gain a political foothold in Lexington, and they were going to bring as many illegals here as they could to back that up, as exemplified by the Si Se Puede demonstration in 2006 right over there, that we've gained over nearly 300% increase in illegals here. And if that were to continue along a timeline, by 2015, we'll have approximately 160,000 or more illegals in Lexington. I got involved in this with a 3-minute conversation to the Commission on Immigration, just asking them that above and all, we need to preserve and protect the heritage, the culture, and the history of the bluegrass. And I think that the General Assembly, when they understand that their responsibility is to the legal citizens of Kentucky, particularly in the middle of a recession, difficult economic times, we need the jobs to go to Kentuckians, we need affordable housing to go to Kentuckians, we need to have law enforcement to preserve our safety and security. That's where I'd like it to go.
Is it fair to say the bottom line here is this is an a race? This is about the money that you're paying into the system. You want it to go to the people who pay into the system?
Well, Michelle, let me explain to you. I'm a disabled Navy veteran. I spent the majority of my career in and out of the Latin American theater, working on behalf of the populations of Guatemala, Colombia, Peru, 8 countries, to enhance their humanitarian and socioeconomic conditions. I used to teach that they should come here and gain education, gain experience here, and then take it back to their country and use it in the spirit of American freedom, democracy, and liberty, and develop their own country. Unfortunately, as a result of some of that work, I was nearly killed and spent 5 months in the Veterans Hospital and continue to be a patient there now.
Thank you, David, for your time.